Welcome to another episode of the Travel with T-Bone Show. I am your host T-Bone, and we're doing another episode of the show, Should or Should Not. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about whether or not you should or should not be working at a college or a university here in China. Now, I just popped over and I showed you the exchange rate because in this video, we're going to be doing some calculations so that way you can become aware of how much money that you'll be making. So let me give a quick description and we'll compare some salaries and that sort of thing so you can have a more informed decision on whether or not you should or should not be teaching in China. I am making this video on January 23rd in 2019. So if this is a bit older, make sure you do a quick price check to make sure things aren't too far off in terms of salary. So let's give a quick description of working at a university in China. When you're going to work at a university, you'll probably get up in the morning. You may do some classes, maybe 1-2 classes. Each should be about an hour and a half each. You might have an English corner, some English talk, or something on the side that you'll do. And generally, that'll be it. You'll obviously do some grades and submissions. Class sizes should be about 50 students. Sometimes it's 30. Some people have 100. Some people I've heard have as high as 200. Holy moly. But generally they tend to hover in about the 30 to 50 range in size. So let's talk about this. Should you teach at a college? Why you should? There's more time. And I'm going to give some examples here, as you can see. More time. So here's some examples of some teaching positions here in China. So the Sino-Canadian International College, Guangxi University, Nanning, China, and we can see that the salary is a bit lower than what you'd expect, but hours. So you'll do 16 contract hours, 45 minutes each, plus 1 hour of English interest course weekly. Which is pretty low. So if we get out our lovely calculator, 16 times 45, 16 times 45, divided by 60, and that is about 12 hours of work a week. That's pretty good, right? But then you look at this problem here, which is your salary, 6,000 to 9,000. Now, their expectations for these can be a bit unrealistic. When they're doing these, that means that they might require you to have a PhD to work for 9,000 RMB a month. Now, how much is 9,000 RMB a month, you might be asking? Let's take a look. So that's why I pulled up here. $1 is 6.80801 Chinese yuan. So let's say you make 8,000. Let's be generous. Let's say you're somewhere in the middle. You've got some experience, but then you divide that by 6.8, and you're making about $1,000 a month. Now, when you compare that to kindergarten, some kindergartens might be close to about 30,000 RMB a month. So we can do some quick math once again. So 30,000 RMB divided by 6.8, and there you go, about $4,400. Both places usually will pay for your housing, kindergartens or colleges, but at the end of the day, the colleges give you a lot more time. If you notice, this was 16 hours of contract work each week. Here is another position in Xiamen, Fujian province. So let's look at the number of hours a week, and that's 16 hours a week plus 2 exam weeks each semester, right? So about the same there. And let's see here, hours a week, another 14 to 16 hours per week. Once again, kind of a low salary, 7,500 Chinese yuan. And then here's another one, Lambton College, how many, with 8,500 to 10,000 RMB. Let's see how many hours, and 20 hours a week. This I probably wouldn't recommend, too many hours. Now, the main reason I would say you should teach is that extra time gives you the chance to invest in other opportunities. For me, I'm using this time to do my master's degree, right? I'm doing the MA TESOL, which I'll make a video about that, explaining whether you should or should not do an MA TESOL, give the positives and negatives. Or some people I know look into doing international trade, doing some sort of investment back home. These are some options that you can consider and research very well by working in a university, because not only is the time less and the positive of working there, but the energy that you'll have after classes, you'll have a lot more than teaching at a kindergarten, because they're college students. They're not going to be fighting. They're not going to be kicking. They're not going to be screaming. They're going to know how to go to the bathroom by themselves. They're going to, not make a big mess in the classroom generally, right? So these are some things to consider as you get on with your work life and doing your day-to-day job. And I would say one of the biggest perks is that the college semesters tend to end a bit earlier. So each semester, you'll probably have maybe a month, 2 months of vacation, 2 months of winter vacation, 2 months of summer vacation. So you have 4 months off each year. And if you renew your contract, odds are you'll probably be getting paid during this vacation time. That's something I would check with your contract with the college to make sure you're getting the most money possible for whatever endeavor you want to do on the side. Now, I guess my biggest downside, like you've noticed before, the money is a bit less. Sometimes it's a fourth of what it would be for working at a kindergarten. So that is something to consider. Do you have enough funds to budget yourself so you can do these side endeavors while living abroad? Next, there is no free food. So when you're working at a kindergarten, they'll generally provide you breakfast and lunch. In college, you're flipping the bill yourself. So then there you go again, some more expenses and less money to send back home. Next is that it can be a bit isolating. This is one that they generally don't talk about. There's some colleges that I interviewed for last year, and the main reason why I chose it was the closest supermarket was like 35, 40 minutes away. That was pretty depressing, and just that sort of isolation can really bring you down, especially if you're doing some sort of work and staying on your school for the 2-month vacation, when a lot of people might go traveling. You might be there alone. There's not a lot to do, and it can quickly, feed into this like vicious cycle of depression. Last one would be raises. When you're looking at a raise for a college, since the salaries are lower, generally the raises are lower as well on a year-to-year basis. So that means you should not be expecting to make a killing off of your college work experience. However, would I recommend this? Yes or no? And I would say yes. I would recommend it if you're looking into being a teacher long term. If you're looking at getting experience as a university instructor in China, to take that somewhere else, whether that's Japan or Taiwan or another country where you can take that to make more money by getting the work experience you need while doing a master's degree. That's where I would recommend it. I'd also recommend it if you prefer teaching to adults over kids. That's something you know. And I'd recommend it if you just want to do something on the side. I would not recommend it if you're looking purely to save money while in China. I think you can make more money as a kindergarten instructor, elementary, middle school, high school, despite the fact that might take up more of your time. So if this video helped, give it a like and leave some comments below. If you dislike this video, put why, and give me your experiences of working at a college and whether or not you would recommend it for people coming. That's all. Thanks, and have a good day.